Hello, I am Chandler Kinchla, and I play guitar in the band Blues Traveler.
Now, how's the landscape of Blues Traveler been in 2016, looking back on this year?
2016's been great. Next year's our 30th anniversary, so we got a whole bunch of we have some new music coming out, maybe get Horde back together in the summer, doing a bunch of stuff.
Really?
So that's all. So this year we just kind of just chilled and had fun.
Yeah.
Not a lot of pushing a lot of stuff, just going out and rocking. And it's really been a fun, really successful tour. So we've had a blast.
So you really think about getting Horde back together?
Well, we're going to do a tour, like a package tour, and then, Horde always was a package tour back in the day. And since the 30th anniversary, it kind of feels like it could work.
Yeah, what does that number mean to you, professionally and personally, the number 30?
It's kind of crazy we've been around that long.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, with this gig, the longer I do it, the more I like it.
Yeah.
So, at first I didn't really think it's that cool, but everyone I tell 30, they're like, oh my God.
Yeah, right. They'll pick up pretty well. I was going to say, like, some people talk a lot, but it picks up just fine here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what is that number professionally? And, like, what about personally for you as a musician?
It's just a number, so, we don't get too caught up in it, because we're always working,
Yeah.
Either we're doing a new record, or we're out touring. We've been together non-stop for 30 years. It's not like we took big breaks.
Now, I've always...
So it's just the next year's kind of cool thing that's coming up.
Yeah.
But, people seem to be pretty jazzed about it, which amuses me. Like most years, I'm just looking forward to rocking out.
Yeah, well, the thing that I liked about Horde was it brought together a lot of bands. It was one of those things where, all right, if mainstream industry is not going to pay attention to us, we're going to do our own thing.
Yeah, which is really what.
What's it like to see that the scene that you were part of, like the Wetlands, the jam scene in the late 80s, early 90s?
You mean the neo-hippie?
Yeah.
That's what they called it back then. The neo-hippie scene, that's before jam bands.
Well, there's two sides to my thought on that. One is that, what do you see now when you have people like Pete Shapiro just killing it right now with the festivals that he's putting on, that the jam scene is actually, because it did its own thing, it's become such a juggernaut of its own thing.
Well, it's just live music, and so, of course, it's going to fit well for festivals, and, the Grateful Dead had a traveling circus all over the country every summer and fall. So all those people, that was we kind of grow up going to that and being in all those bands, and we toured with the Allman Brothers and Santana when we were starting out with Bill Graham.
Yeah.
So we were kind of, that people love that, that's music for live. So it's no surprise that that community and that tradition has lived on, because it's been around. But it's kind of it's great, because we get to play all different festivals, different times. But Jazz Fest has been going forever.
Yeah.
And that was kind of one of the cornerstones. One of the starts of that. And here we are doing Jazz Fest 30 years later.
Well,
this year.
Interesting too with, like we were saying, with Allman Brothers, the Dead, and Santana, all that. They the business model that they ran is the business model that people are looking at now. Whereas before it was like sell records, touring and merchandise is secondary.
Well, they didn't sell any records. So.
That's what I'm saying. But like now, it's like the career that you guys have had. You've been a part of the pinnacle of the industry and also seen the whole collapse of it.
It's true.
So
in this business, just like when we started out, you've got to be like water. You can't be like, this is all it's going to be.
Yeah.
Depending on what shows up, you got to just get around the rocks, or So in any entertainment business, you got to be pretty flexible.
And I feel like having that mentality early on, especially in the jam scene, is what is why big reason why you're still here, because you always focused on the music and touring.
Yes, for sure. And getting all those hits in the mid '90s was a big surprise to us. We always tried to get some stuff on the radio, but I don't think we ever really thought we'd be top. Playing our song would be #1 in pop radio. It's crazy.
I feel like it probably didn't. I feel like you figured yourself out as a band before the fame.
Well, that was our fourth. Yeah, that was our fourth record. So yeah, we had this whole identity already built in, and that. So that was definitely a help. It's 30 years. It doesn't seem. It seems like it was just yesterday we started it. Honestly. doesn't seem that long ago, until I start charting back the different particular things we did. I mean, the best way for me to chart it is to think about an album and where we were, and I mean, Christ, I've got a kid in college that that was born, back in the late '90s.
What do you think is some of the reasons why the band itself has always stuck together, that it never got, through 30 years, it's still, besides Bobby, the whole band is still intact?
For sure. Well, we grew up together. We went to high school together, so I think there's a lot of bonds.
Yeah.
Back from, hometown, playing together in high school, starting out. So it's not like a bunch of grown-ups that met, there's some, so those bonds, and we really try to keep changing it up all the time. And always doing new music, even though music's more of just a promotional tool.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too, is that you had, the fame is always a good thing in terms of, like, okay, now the bills are paid, but we're still us. But how do you avoid becoming a nostalgia act? You know what I mean?
You got to keep doing new shit.
Yeah.
Playing with young bands, the whole last record, working with a lot of kind of outside the box singer bands was great. You just got to kind of try and keep tweaking it a little bit.
Yeah.
So you stay interested. And, as we get older, it'll become partly that. But I think we've kind of been around touring hard, playing, theaters and amphitheaters and clubs.
Well, and
so that we're like a living, breathing thing. We're not like just on a...
Yeah.
Circuit,
Oh, I feel like I don't know if this is just me, but they were discussing why the Rolling Stones are still popular beyond their catalog. And what they had said is because when they came up, they had a pop rock side, but the fact that there was a blues element, it grows better with age.
For sure.
Rather than some 50-year-old guys just playing pop songs from the 80s.
Oh, for sure.
The blues always ages well.
Blues and
the rock.
And rock.
Yeah.
I mean, it's... you almost get cooler. There's... when you're starting out, you're young and kind of come... I mean, that's one thing, but you can't really keep it up.
Yeah.
That kind of aggressive playing and everything. But, I think we play better now than we've ever played.
Well, that's the thing. It's like...
We don't like the energy we did when we were in our 20s and just balls to the wall, but...
But you can tailor the sound to your age.
Yeah. It grows with you.
Yeah. Do you think...
And we're always... I think adding keyboards was good, midway through the life of the band was a smart thing to do. It added another dimension. And let me stop playing so fucking aggressively because we had some other chordal instrument. So it's been fun for me.
Well, when you look at the industry now, and it might be kind of a loaded question, but do you think a band like Blues Traveler would have the success if they started today?
I don't know if we get the pop success,
Yeah.
but I think we do great on the live circuit.
Why is it that
But the record, that was our fourth record with A&M, and they worked with us and built us, and we knew all the people, the local people, and they really got us, and that was our fourth record. We tried each record. The marketplace environment was right when
it really was. I think people were looking for rock and roll, but more of an uplifting thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're coming out of the grunge era, 94, 95, that whole...
Sure.
People wanted something different.
And I don't think any record company has that kind of patience to push. The record industry is completely on its ear.
Yeah.
It's not
and you see
even
it
close
too with
to what it
like the
was
charts.
in the 90s.
No, it's very rare you see a rock band on the top 10, like a real rock band. It's either pop or country.
And the problem is most of the rock bands come and they go so quick, It's like, it's really, the bands come and go so fast now.
What about when you see like these large festivals and you have a crowd of younger people that are maybe focused more on stage gimmicks and actual musicianship when it comes to like these headlining acts where, where's the rock?
Well, the big, there's, John Mayer's huge, like the Killers.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good big rock bands that, kids go to our shows all the time and they love it. But, you put on a show too. We got gimmicks, dumb shit we do that's just purely for rocking the crowd. Crowds love that shit. So, hopefully it's a blend.
Yeah. Now, what do you love about still being on the road? I know it can't be easy at any age, but...
Well, if we're on the bus, it's pretty bleeping easy. It's pretty smooth. I love seeing the country. I love bumping into different people. Mainly, I just like playing shows. Those are always still really fulfilling, artistically fulfilling to me.
What's that like when you're in the moment, when like everything's clicking, the band's hitting all cylinders?
It's just great.
What's going through your head? I mean, are you...
No, hopefully nothing.
Yeah.
It's just happening. And the crowd's rocking, the whole thing's just, gets off the ground.
I guess if you're aware of it or thinking, you probably lose it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea. It's like juggling. If you start thinking about what you're doing,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you got to come back down to earth for the changes and stuff like that. But even that becomes second nature when it's going well. And shoot, we've been out since July now. It's kind of like falling off a log for us. Our shows are we just kind of tear through them. And it's been a blast all year.
Well, I was wondering too, with how much of an influence or presence is Bobby still around on stage and in the studio?
I mean, I think of him most days.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got a tat. When we have a picture of him up on stage, I don't know if he's so much of an influence anymore as kind of like a good love, like a guardian angel kind of thing. You know what I mean? His influence, because we've been with these guys now 16, 15 years. That's longer than Bobby was even in the band.
Well,
But me personally, I was really close with Bobby, so for me, I think it's kind of more of an inspirational thing.
I guess my last question is, what has life performing and touring, creating music taught you about what it means to be a human being?
And people are pretty awesome all around. I mean, we get people coming out all over the country, and all they want to do is have a good time, rock out, connect with other people. I mean, playing live music's kind of like one of the old social magics. It's very primitive. I mean,
Well, it's primal. It's universal. I mean, you could have a room of completely different people from completely different backgrounds, and it's all one energy.
yeah, it's amazing, and people really connect, and it's really kind of an honor to be able to do that. And like I said, I appreciate it more as I get older because there's so few things that really operate that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really recreate it on a computer. I mean, a lot of experience is
But in the moment magic.
Yeah, you can't really get anywhere else. You need the presence. So, like I said, now as far as people go, I mean, I'm generally pretty optimistic humanist, but playing music's probably helped me be that way. I mean, you're exposed to so many people. The funny thing is, I get home, and I've been had a week off here and there, but up until May, we're going to just do one-offs and different projects. We're not going to really tour until next summer, really. So then all of a sudden I'm home, but I don't see people. I'm so socially just worn out that I come on the third month, I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah. Well,
I come out and hang out with a good friend and my kids or whatever, but.
Like as a journalist, I'm constantly talking to strangers every day, and I tell people I'm an extroverted loner.
Yeah, that's kind of me. I mean, the funny thing about musicians is any decent musician were the ones that sat in their room by themselves running scales after school.
Yeah.
But, just nerding out. So for me, I wasn't all that social when I was learning guitar. I'd run home, get cool new music.
Yeah.
Figured out, practice scales, go to my lessons. I was always just working on that. And then all of a sudden you get this job that makes you have to be like super outgoing, which I've really learned to enjoy as well.
Well, it's almost like your own mission. You know what I mean? Like you have to have your game face on and all.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think I've kind of transcended that.
Yeah.
At this point.
Where that's just who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Exactly. And so I feel pretty comfortable that it's not just one thing I feel like they want to hear. It's asking me. But who knows where I become me or where I actually was. But later.